This is a webinar series, and today's focus is on students. I'm your host, Esther Clark. I am the Global Head of Communications here at Inspired Education. Today, I'm joined by some of my most favorite people in the world, our students. Students is the reason what we do what we do. And yeah, that's right. It's all about students. So we're going to hear from them. We're going to hear their unique student voices, their perspectives, what inspires them, what they're studying right now, and where they want to go. So I will start off by introducing them, but before I do that, I wanted to mention that I'm also joined by our head of Year 13, Miss Rachel Rosser, and she will lend a teacher and a head perspective on our conversation. So without further ado, let's dive right in. I think it'll be a lively discussion today. I'd like to start by asking our guests to introduce themselves. I'm going to go through in alphabetical order, introduce themselves, state their name, where they're located in the world, and what they're studying. So let's go with Grace, and then Naila, and then Theo. Grace, over to you.
Hello, I'm Grace. I live in South Wales, Brecon, and I'm studying psychology, English literature, and English language.
Thanks, Grace. Over to you, Naila.
Hi, my name is Naila. I'm in the capital city of Kenya, Nairobi, and I'm an A-level student studying maths, classical civilization, and economics.
Amazing, thank you. And Theo, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Theo. I'm from Spain. I live in La Rioja, northern Spain, and I'm studying A-levels, math, physics, and chemistry.
Awesome. And Theo, you also have a couple of hobbies that might be of interest to our audience. Can you mention those?
I'm also a student ambassador. I play tennis. I'm a tennis player, and I'm also a musician. I play the double bass and the piano.
Excellent. Thanks for that. Ms. Rosser, if you'd like to introduce yourself, just give us a little background of who you are, and then we'll start the discussion.
Hi, lovely to meet you all. I am Miss Rosser. So as Esther said, I am the head of Year 13 this year. I'm also a biology teacher by background. So that's where my subject interest lies, and I'm based in the southwest of England.
Amazing. Thank you, Ms. Rosser. So let's dive right in. As I said, I think there's lots of stuff to discuss, and I'm really excited to hear different perspectives. I think we have a really diverse group here. So let's get started. The first question I have for the students today is the factors that influenced your choice of A-level subjects. So I know that you've all mentioned your subject choices and what you're studying right now, but what made you choose those particular subjects? And I'd like to start off with Grace, if that's okay.
Hello. So as I said, I'm doing English Lang, Lit, and Psychology. And I think the most important factor is obviously your passion. What do you enjoy? Finding out what your passion subject is. What are the background subjects that you like doing? And I also think another really important factor is the teacher. The teacher has such an important and passionate role because the teacher connects the student with the subject. And I think on a considerable amount of wavelengths, I think it makes the subject more engaging when the teacher has just as a strong passion as the student has.
Very nice. Thanks, Grace. Theo, what do you think? I mean, what factors influenced your choice? I know that you have some extracurricular activities that you do and some other passions. And what influenced the choice of your particular A-level subjects?
Okay, so my story is pretty long, but I'm just going to tell you. Everything is based on the Spanish system, the Spanish educational system. So I've always lived in Spain, I've always studied in Spain, and I've always been influenced by the Spanish educational system. And in Spain, once you get to year 12 and year 13, you have something pretty similar to A-levels, which is called the bachillerato. So in bachillerato, you have two options. You can go and choose science subjects, or you can choose other subjects that are called letter subjects. And I've always wanted to study something related with science, and that's why I chose science. But in Spain, science, if you get to choose science, it divides in two options. You have science related to engineering, physics, all that stuff. And you also have science and related with medicine and biology. So I didn't know, I wasn't sure which path I would like to choose. I like science, but as I said, I'm not sure what kind of science. So in A levels, I chose 3 subjects. I also thought about taking a 4th subject, biology, but it's pretty tough, 4 subjects. And so I chose math, physics, and chemistry. And that way, with these subjects, I can have options if I want to study something related with medicine and something related with engineering or physics. I have like the 2 paths open to choose whatever I want.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. And I think pathways are so important as well. Naya, what about you? What influenced your choice of A-level subjects?
I was also quite influenced by career choice and, you know, what the subjects would allow me to do in the future. And at first, I was like, I was leaning on my parents. I was like, oh, tell me what to do, because I really wasn't sure. But then I realized I actually, it is about me, and enjoyment is so important. Like Grace said, if you're not enjoying, it's kind of impossible. Like last year with my GCSEs, I really struggled because I wasn't really enjoying things that I thought I would enjoy. So I wasn't trusting myself a lot. But then I realized I do want to go into architecture. And so I thought, okay, I'll do math. And then that really kind of threw me back because math is very difficult and I'm very not good at math. But I realized I can't do the other subjects that, you know, usually go with architecture, which would be physics or arts, because I did horribly in my GCSEs. So my GCSE results also really influenced me because I realized, you know, I can't really go and do A-levels, which is specializing in a subject when I hadn't done one in the GCSEs. So I decided to go with economics because it's very interesting. When I went into business for GCSE, I thought it was econ, but it wasn't. I wanted to learn about how, you know, politics and resources affect the world, all that stuff. And I chose classics because I thought, well, econ and math, those are very content-heavy, very difficult subjects. And I thought, I have to enjoy myself. So classics it's the one thing keeping me going. You know, I look forward to it so much during my week.
Amazing. It sounds like you have a great mix there. Ms. Rosser, just in terms of what support the school provides to students, can you explain a little bit more about how we help students make those informed decisions and decide what choices and subjects they're going to take?
Absolutely. We really want students to make the right choices for them, and actually working out what's available to you is really part of that, because there are so many different A-level subjects that you can take. And some of those might be a subject you've studied at Key Stage 4 or IGCSE level, but some of them will be brand new subjects that you might not have done before. So we really want to give students a flavour of what it might be like to actually study on that subject. So we have taster sessions. If you're joining our school for the first time, you can come along and try out a bit of a lesson and have a mini lesson with a teacher. So you can get a feel for what that subject is like, the kinds of things that you would cover and the kinds of ways you'd learn about it as well. But also for our students who are already part of our school, we have a transition programme where they can go out and try snippets of lessons. We have some dedicated time, it's coming up actually for our next year 11s, to actually come and try out different subjects, explore their options and think about what they would like to do. Because knowing what is entailed in a subject is really helpful to then inform your choices. Picking something you've been good at Key Stage 4 is always going to stand you in good stead because you've got that background. But for some new subjects at A-level, you don't need that prior knowledge because it's expected to be a brand new subject. So there are lots and lots of choices out there. We've got loads of information on the website as well, which also tells you things that are important to consider, like how the subject is assessed. Some of us prefer subjects that have kind of assessments throughout the course. Some of us prefer assessments to all come at the end of the course. So knowing what you're signing up for is really important as well. So we try to offer as much information and a real interactive taste of what it would be like to study those subjects, so that our students can then choose the ones that they think is going to fit them best.
Thanks, Rachel. That's really helpful. And I think just to mention to our audience listening today, there are resources on the King's InterHigh website. There's also a book a call option that you can click on, and you can book a call with one of our friendly admission staff. Very friendly, I have to say. They're great in helping kind of explore that. And then as well, there's taster sessions, and you can also speak to our head of subjects and head of Key Stage. So let's go back to the students, because I'm really interested. I mean, some of you mentioned how your chosen subjects align with your future career plans, but I'd like to hear from Grace, because we heard from Theo and we heard a little bit from Naila as well about future career plans. But what about you, Grace? What kind of thing are you thinking of in the future? I'm eager to watch how your career unfolds.
Well, because my passion subject for A-level is mainly psychology, I'm looking to do something along the lines of that. Because with students, I think it's important that you have your passion subject and your background subjects that you also enjoy that you can fall onto. It's quite a difficult decision, because I think we're still so young that we're having to make these choices. And I'm going to be honest, and I think the audience can relate, some students are just so scared, I think. I've had my insecurities and unsure of what I want to do, but I have that passion subject to lead me. So I know that I love psychology. I love analyzing that human behavior. I love every aspect of it. And whether that at the end of this A-level year leads me to a possible apprenticeship or university, I'd be happy to pursue any of those. But I think it's important that you focus on the next small steps that you can do and to not worry so much about the long run, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense. And I love your honesty and candor. I think even as we're older and we enter the professional realm, I think we're still learning, and we're still learning what we're good at and what we'd like to learn more about. So that sounds really on point. I would like to ask Naila, if that's possible, just to talk a little bit about students, or give advice about when students are kind of uncertain about their A-level options. I think you mentioned the thought process that you went through, but what advice would you give to students? You mentioned having a passion subject and looking at that, as well as balancing it with what you'd like to do in the future. But what little nugget of advice would you give students who are uncertain about their A-level options?
Grace is absolutely right about having a passion subject. Now, ideally, all 3 subjects would be passion subjects, but sometimes that isn't the case. You know, we can't always tolerate everything. So I think, yeah, that's the word, tolerate. Pick subjects that you can tolerate. If you're going into a lesson and you are like sigh and you just can't deal with it, then you're not going to be motivated to study. You're not going to be motivated to go into the exam and do well. So I think definitely at least have one subject that you are passionate about, and the other ones have to at least be tolerable. And then you also have to think, okay, well, what options are these going to give me? And if you are still unsure about where you want to pick a subject that is going to give you as many options as possible, like the sciences is a good idea. And yeah, just things that will broaden your options.
Right. And Rachel, what do you think about that? I mean, I know there's a breadth of A-level subjects. King's InterHigh offers quite a few different subjects, including creative options. Does that help students to kind of pursue their passion and just linking back to what Naila said in terms of pursuing your passion, but also finding subjects that they're interested in developing a little bit more?
I think the number of subjects to choose from, we've got 20 A-level subjects to choose from here at King's InterHigh, is a real strength, but it also does give you an awful lot of choice, and it can be quite hard to make those decisions. So if you do have a clear kind of pathway in mind of the kind of university course you might want to go on to, or an apprenticeship, or a particular job that you're aiming for in your future, then that can be a really useful guide to help you pick your subjects. You obviously want to pick things that you enjoy and that you think you'll do well in, but if you have a particular pathway that you want to follow, then keeping that in mind and choosing subjects that open up those opportunities for you is really important. But equally, we have a lot of students, and I think it's been mentioned so far today, that might not know really what they want to do exactly. And that's completely normal. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to worry about there. And in that case, trying to keep your options open can be a really sensible thing. So choosing subjects that you're good at, choosing subjects perhaps from a range of fields if you want to keep different possibilities open. So some of our students might choose to do one more creative subject like media studies. They might choose to do English language where they're going to be doing creative writing, but maybe combine that with a science. There are lots of different possibilities out there. And that then means that if you haven't got a set pathway in mind just yet, or you want to try a brand new subject that you might not have studied before, perhaps something like sociology or psychology or law or politics that aren't so commonly offered at Key Stage 4. It just gives you a chance to try those new things. It gives you a chance to keep your choices a little bit more wide as you start to then think about, okay, well, what am I enjoying? What do I want to do after sixth form? Because there's a lot to think about, and not all of our students and young people will be in a position in year 11 where they know exactly what they want to do in the future. So actually doing something you enjoy, doing something you're good at, can be a really good way of keeping those options a little bit more open if that's the case.
Wonderful, thank you. And I'd like to throw a question out there to the students, which is the kind of explain your and share your experience about how King's InterHigh supported you with the selection process and onboarding. So I'm sure that all of your experiences are unique, and there was different support and different factors that played into the selection process. But if I could throw that question out to the students, and perhaps we start with Theo, because you gave a really good explanation of your journey and how you considered the subjects that you're taking. But what support specifically did King's InterHigh provide you with in the selection process?
Well, as I said before, all my decisions were based on the Spanish education system, but also at King's InterHigh, and they provided me with lots of information, and in every subject they tell you all the specifications about what you want to study. But the most important thing, because I chose King's InterHigh, is well, first I have to be clear on this. As I said before, I do many things, many extracurricular activities, such as playing tennis and music. And that means I don't have much time to study. And in Spain, the education system is very tough because you have lots of subjects and you don't get to choose all the subjects. As I said before, you have 2 pathways, and you get to choose what kind of subjects you want to study, but you don't get to choose every subject. So you have so many subjects, around 9 subjects, and this also might be helpful for people that study in Spain, because from the A-level lessons, I've seen so many people that are from Spain and study in Spain. So this is also very helpful. And in Spain, as I said before, you have so many subjects, and that takes you so much time away. And with the Spanish system, I wasn't able to do the extracurricular activities and my passions outside of studying, like tennis, because I'm training a lot of hours a day, tennis. I couldn't do music because I didn't have time. So being able to study online in King's InterHigh gives you very good flexibility with everything. And studying like this, being able to watch the recordings from the lessons if I'm not able to attend the lesson live, it's really very helpful. And this is the only way I can do all the extracurricular activities, all the training, music, and all the things outside of school I wanted to do.
Thanks, Theo. No, and it sounds like you've achieved a great balance there. So a big congratulations to you and to your family and support system for that. Grace, I think you've been with King's InterHigh for a few years. Could you tell me a little bit about what your experience was in terms of selecting your A-level subjects and what support King's InterHigh provided you with?
Well, my journey has been between a rock and a hard place. I started off really in obviously a public school where it wasn't a very nice environment, and there were just distractions left, right, and center. And I was absolutely saved by King's. I was just being isolated from people in a way makes you realize, oh my goodness, what have I been doing? Because I didn't really care about my education before, and I got immediately stuck in. And I think that's so important for students. And the most amazing thing about King's is that there's no pressure. Now, when I was doing my GCSE choices and my A levels, because I've been at King's now for about 4 years now, which is amazing, and I'm still enjoying it, still thriving. And there's just no pressure. At the start of A levels, I was a bit of a whirlwind, and I started off with 4 A levels, including biology, sociology, English, literature, I think, and language. And it was just all over the place. I was stressing because I thought, I don't think I can do this. I chose 4, which was a bit of a mistake for me because I wasn't experienced in that field. I was just eager to get out there. So I decided then to drop sociology because I wasn't enjoying it so much. And then biology dropped out. And then it all came together then with these 3 subjects, the language, the literature, and the psychology. And King's they have so much love and support for you. I mean, with making my choices as well, I got in contact with my Explore teachers, and they are so incredibly lovely. You can get contact with Miss Rosser, and the support you will get is phenomenal. So empathetic, so understanding. There's no prodding and probing and trying to pressure you into choosing A levels and GCSEs. It's incredible, the support. It's wonderful.
Thanks, Grace. That's music to my ears. That just sounds amazing. Sorry, I think we just disconnected there for a minute, but no, I was saying music to my ears. It sounds amazing. And as a parent myself of a 17-year-old student, it just I know that experience. So it's good that you've got a very positive experience with King's InterHigh. Naila, what about you in terms of your support, the King's InterHigh support when you were selecting your A-level subjects and your kind of future career paths? What did that look like?
Yeah, I wish that I knew that I could, email people and get in touch with the actual teachers who would be teaching you, because I did not do that when I was selecting. And that's one of the things. You can email anyone, and even if you email the wrong person, they will get you to the right person. I wish I knew that, but I know that now. What I used mostly was this very, very comprehensive document that they gave us actually in the beginning of year 11. They gave us a year early, and it is literally just math. Here's the syllabus. Here's what you're going to do in term 1, in term 2, in term 3. And I went through every single subject, and they also tell us, okay, what you're going to do in year 13 as well. And I went through, like I said, every single one, and I was like, okay, maybe this one I will be interested in. And it was just reading that over and over again, and kind of whichever subject that I found myself reading over again and again, which happened to be classics, econ, and math. And that's how I chose. Other than that, unlike Grace, I did have a tiny bit of pressure, obviously not from King's, but from my parents. So that did also influence me a little bit. They were like, okay, well, what are you going to do when you grow up? What do you have to choose now? So yeah, I was a tiny bit pressured. Maybe I would have chosen differently, but obviously everyone's home situation is different.
Yeah, no, and I love that honesty. And actually that's a nice segue into how parents can best support their children in choosing A-level subjects. And Miss Ross, are you able to let us know and share with us kind of how do you support and parents to support their children, helping to help children and students to make the right decision? What does that look like at King's InterHigh?
Absolutely. I think talking through options and choices is really important, and looking beyond an initially superficial level. So firstly, being aware of all the choices that are out there so that you can make an informed decision. but then talking through what do you like about a particular subject, or what does your child enjoy about that subject? And equally, what do they dislike? Because often, even with our most favourite subjects, there's still challenging aspects of that. So let's look at what's positive about it, what we find more difficult. And then have a look and see, okay, what would the A-level programme actually look like? Because sometimes there is quite a bit of difference from, say, IGCSE, Key Stage 4 level to A-level. So it's important to look and see, are the things I really enjoyed about that subject at GCSE still part of the A-level? Am I going to build on that? So that you can have a kind of realistic picture of what studying the A-level might be, because they are challenging, they are academically rigorous courses, A-levels. So going in with your eyes open is really, really important. And I think having that open discussion, whether that's at home with parents and carers, whether that's with Explore teachers or heads of year, members of staff, Reflect tutors, just having that opportunity to really talk through what you like, what you're interested in, can really help to then focus the mind, because there is a lot of choice and sometimes that choice can feel a bit overwhelming. So actually getting that chance to really discuss it is helpful. I think it's also really good to look at where your strengths are, or where your child's strengths are. So where have they performed really well? Is it particular subjects? Is it that they're actually amazing writers and therefore courses that involve lots of essay-based questions are going to work well for them? Are they amazing at maths or sciences or more creative subjects? So I think looking at where strengths are can be really helpful too, because if a student has shown that strength at Key Stage 4, you can keep building on that, and that really gives you the best chance of success with A-levels as well. And then I think it is important to look ahead at those pathways too. So if your child has got a particular ambition, what kinds of things are going to support them towards that ambition? And really using that as a starting point. But I think the opportunity to really talk things through both in school and at home is really helpful for that decision-making process, and taking the time to really reflect on it as well. I know Nyla mentioned sharing information at the start of year 11, and we do start talking about this quite soon because it's a big decision. We want to make sure that you're choosing the courses that you're going to be happiest on and you're going to thrive on. So taking the time to really weigh up those options and decide what's best for you, I think is really helpful.
That's great. And what I'm hearing from you, as well as our fantastic A-level students, is it reminds me of a quote. It's a beautiful quote about how it takes a village to raise a child, and it really is that, right? It's listening to and seeing the child's strengths, what they're interested in, but it's also the education, the school, the parent, the community, everyone coming together to find the best pathway. So no, that's incredible. We're close to our time, so I'm just going to conclude with a few more questions. And actually, I thought of this right now, so I'm going to put the students on the spot. That there's this game that we play in marketing and marketing research, and it's really powerful. And that is, you have to choose 3 words to describe something. So when I ask a question, choose 3 words. So could you encapsulate in 3 words how you are finding studying your A-levels online with King's InterHigh? So 3 words, putting you on the spot. Let's go with Theo first.
Well, it's going to be a hard decision. I'm going to say first word, hard work, because you have to study and you have to go through all the things you study every day and all of that. I'm going to go with freedom in the way that being able to study online, watch the recordings of the lessons, gives you so much time. As I said before, I do so many things, extracurricular activities, and without this kind of education, I couldn't be able to do all the things I do. So it gives you much more time. And I'm going to go also with a word that has been repeated so much during this webinar, passion, because in A-levels, in these 2 years, year 12 and year 13, it's 2 years just before college or whatever you want to do after the A-levels. And it's very important passion, because in these 2 years you're gonna study the subjects you want to do in the future. You're gonna study things related with your future and with your passions and with the work you're gonna do in the future. So those are my 3 words.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Grace, over to you. Putting you on the spot.
I'm gonna. It's hard, but well, not hard at all. When you think about it, just nerves. I'm gonna have to go. It's life-saving. It saves student education with this troubling background like I had in public school. You know, that isolation completely saved me. It put me in a different mindset. My second word is phenomenal. It's amazing. The education is absolutely outstanding. Nothing too complicated about it. The communication is easy. And my last word is engaging. The connection that you make with, the personal connection you make with teachers and students is absolutely amazing.
Thank you. Thanks for that. Nyla, what about you? 3 words to describe your A-level experience with King's InterHigh.
I'm going to steal from Theo, and I'm going to also say liberating. It is definitely liberating. And with that liberation, you also do have to take a little bit of control for yourself, because if you take that freedom and you don't, because you have to do a lot of independent study, you do also develop a lot of self-control. And then nourishing also is my word, because like Grace said, my life has definitely improved so much. And the last and most important one is fun. I've had so much fun in the past 2 weeks compared to, I've been at King's, like Grace said, like 4-ish years. But the last few months during A-levels had been the most fun.
Amazing. Thank you so much for that. So I've heard hard work. I've heard fun. I've heard freedom and liberating. I've also heard life-saving and nourishing. So lots, and passion, of course, are some of the words that we've heard from the students on this webinar today. Before we close, I'd like to ask Ms. Rosser, as the head of Year 13, just to leave us with one nugget of wisdom from your perspective, from her perspective on King's InterHigh A-levels. One just nugget of wisdom to leave the audience with today.
I think if you choose something that you enjoy, that you're passionate about, then you can't go too far wrong.
Amazing. Thank you so much. And thanks to our students, to Theo, to Nyla, and to Grace, as well as the fantastic Miss Rachel Rosser, for your contributions and for your engaging conversation here on King's InterHigh Voices. That concludes our event for today. Thank you.